What's up, guys? This is Corey, also known as QC, just hitting you with another one. And so today I want to talk about um, some obstacles that you're going to face no matter what when you're in the gig economy. And I'm gearing this more towards the Uber, the Lyft, because I think that if for most of us, if you're working multiple platforms, you kind of see where the money splits. That depending on what times you work, that for me specifically, most of my money comes um, from working the platform of Uber and Lyft. And so I just wanted to focus on that because I think it's really something where I think for the majority of folks, they'll really get something out of that. But there are some things that's going to occur with Uber and Lyft that are going to cause various adversities. Obviously, with Uber, a lot of it is just getting over some of the bad things that they've done and trying to get people comfortable with some of the decisions that they made in the past. Now, I see that the new CEO is making a lot of that right, but a lot of people still have a bad taste in their mouth, and so um, you have that issue right there, and that's something where I think just by not trying to be right when it comes to that conversation, you'll go a long way. Try to be empathetic to how people feel, but also I think that there's some things that um, drivers face that in this gig economy that others don't. And so I'm just going to go through a few of them. Not kind of go too far into it. Some of the things that you're going to face, obviously, as a new driver, is understanding your market. Now, Uber and Lyft, send out notices saying these are the best times, these are the best locations, this is where you want to drive. But just remember that anytime they send that information out, they're sending it to everyone, and they're letting everyone know that same piece of information. So when you're going out to drive, you know the hesitation that a lot of people run into is, well, how do I know where to drive, or when it's slow, what do I do? Well, one of the things that I found to be really helpful, and you can do this whether if you need to write it down, you can, but you need to make either a mental note or actual physical note when you go out. Where do I usually get my first ride? Now, for me, I'm near a college, so usually I can go online from my living room and I'll usually get my first ride. But there are times when I don't get my first ride when I'm at home. And so the next step is, well, where do I go? You know, do you go downtown? Well, usually people earlier in the evening aren't downtown. Usually early in the evening, they're at their house getting ready to go downtown. So what areas are going to be areas where you're going to get more rides? So that's one thing. I think that a lot of people, when they go out, they feel as if, it's going to be busy all the time. Well, it's not. But there's also opportunities where you can make money during periods where Uber and Lyft don't necessarily think that there's an opportunity for you. Um, I'll give you an example. Um, as I always tell you guys, I'm in the Charlotte market, so your mileage may vary. But I traditionally will go out for about 3 to 4 hours on a Tuesday evening. Most people will not do that just because Tuesday is very slow. I mean, it's the second day of a work week. There's not really, sorry about that, my camera's moved. There's not really much volume for drivers to get out there. I have found that these days are extremely successful for me when they are. Sometimes they're but most part times I do really good on them. And the reason why I do really good on them is because not because I know any special trick or anything, is because I'm playing a game that other drivers are won't play, and that is I'm willing to essentially take a loss almost, even though I want to make money. I view any time that I'm working for under $20 an hour, I view that as a loss. So I'm willing to take a loss that night for the potential that I might gain a lot more. So I was sick earlier this week, and so Monday I was sick. And so Tuesday had to be a big, catch up day. And so what I did is I went out Tuesday evening and I went out from 8 to 12, just 4 hours, nothing major, and I was able to make close to $100 in that 4 hour time period. And the reason why I was able to make that kind of money in that time period on in a slow day in our market and is because a lot of drivers feel as if no one's out, so there's no reason to be out. And if every driver came out on Tuesday night, it would be slow. But I drove a lot of um, businessmen and women who were in town to do business, and so they were going back and forth to restaurants. There was actually a concert that occurred at one of the venues, and so there was some volume there. But then there was just people who were just moving around town, and normally maybe somebody in that area would have got that ride because they live nearby. But because I happened to be one of the few drivers out, that volume came to me. And so those kind of things can happen. So always be willing, if you're looking at the long game, to have a time where you're willing to take a loss because sometimes you might find little pockets. And so now I've done it enough times on Tuesday and made money that I know when I can go out on a Tuesday and make money. And I'm almost at the point of forecasting, hey, this is how much I want to make that day. And what I mean by forecasting, that solely means that it becomes part of my financial planning. Um, like on a Friday, I can say how much I expect to make, and anything less than that is I view it as a failure. So I'm almost at that point for Tuesdays because I'm starting to see that regularly I can get a certain amount of money. So that's one thing. Know your market. Know when you can know when a volume is. Know where the volume is, and don't be afraid to do go out in unorthodox times to make more money. Another piece of adversity is what to do with your car. Um, I would say when it comes to your vehicle, and Uber Dude, and I always reference his channel because he's an excellent YouTuber, but he is very level headed about it. Uber Dude said it best when he was saying that your car is an asset that can make money or it can be a liability. Um, you are going to naturally put wear and tear on your vehicle. Um, and so doing this is going to put more wear and tear on a vehicle. Now, depending on how you drive, that may be something where you may need to make an adjustment. I know for me, I used to be a very hard driver and I was very hard on vehicles. And doing Uber and Lyft has actually made me a better driver because I drive so much more. I drive more for gas mileage. So, and I also, I don't hard brake as much. I don't fast accelerate. So, you are going to put wear and tear on your vehicle. But just remember, a vehicle's engine is designed to run. It's the stop and go. It's I started it up, I drove 2 miles and stopped, and then I started it up and I That's what hurts your vehicle. When you're just out there and your engine is constantly running, that's not hurting your engine. Now, obviously, there's oil changes, there's regular service that you need to do in your vehicle, but that can be resolved by finding a good mechanic or finding somebody who you can rely on to help work on your vehicle, a friend or family member, learning how to do some of the regular maintenance things on yourself. Um, I have always advocated, using YouTube as a tool to find out if you can do some of this like mechanic stuff when you're by yourself. I would tell anybody if you want to save yourself money from the start, that's something that will last forever. Learn how to change your oil. It is probably one of the simplest things you will ever do. Um, and so I would that would be my natural first step. But if you're not one that's going to work on your vehicle, obviously you want to talk to a mechanic, and maybe you can go to one like a local guy and say, hey, look, I drive for Uber. I'm going to be driving X amount of miles every month, so I'm probably going to need to get my oil change more frequently than your average customer. Is there anything that you can do to give me a better deal on my oil changes? Um, Also, Uber and Lyft, they both have partnerships with some of the national branded companies to get discounts. So there's things that you can take advantage from that end. But I would say that wear and tear on your vehicle is going to happen whether you drive for Uber and Lyft or not. Um, and making money with your vehicle, whether it's extra money or whether it's a primary source of income, should not be should not be um, should be a reason to use your vehicle. I mean, you should want to use your vehicle for Uber and Lyft to make money versus not. I have a theory that if you were able to afford, that you can actually increase the payment of what you can afford just by taking, 4 Uber rides a week. So, and my theory is if you're normally able to take on a $500 monthly payment, um, but your car that you really would love will be a $600 payment. You do 4 Uber rides a week, maybe make $25, $26 every week. Um, that's an extra $100. Now you got your car of your dreams, and you have a way of making, and you've found a way to pay for it. Those kind of things can be worked out. So that's something just to consider. And I don't want to get too preachy about it, but I think that's something where holding up your ability to make money because of wear and tear in your vehicle should be the last thought. The way people make it sound is like as soon as you do your first Uber ride, everything's going to shut down. That's just not the case. Um, what else? Adversity. Dealing with customers. This is a customer centric business. If you don't like talking to people or dealing with people, maybe this may not be the option for you. Um, I As I've gotten older, I've gotten realistic as to what kind of person I am. I used to get a lot of jobs in call centers. And it was because I could use some of my degree, and it was an easy entry level to get into a lot of companies. And I've quickly realized in my life that I hate call centers. I hate being on the phone. Sometimes even with my friends, I have to let them know like, hey, didn't mean to be short with you because I just hate being on the phone. And I know we have these expensive devices in our pockets, and we call them phones, and they do everything but be on. And I try to do everything but be on the phone. But I just hate being on phones, and I had to be very honest with myself. Of I hate being on the phone, so why would I take a job doing that? If you don't like driving, don't do it. If you don't like talking to people, don't do it. If you don't like dealing with people, don't do it. Just because you're going to have to deal with different people, and every person's not going to be the ideal situation. So, as much as Uber and Lyft try to say our customers are great, not all of them are, and it may be something where you may have a majority aren't, depending on your city. It really depends. Um, like I said, I live in an area near a college. I don't like driving college students because um, most of them binge drink and they get fall out drunk, and that is not a fun experience for me. And most of them don't respect your vehicle. So there are times where I will see a group of college kids and I will see that they're extremely intoxicated, and I will say, it's just not something I'm going to deal with. Because usually those rides, in my experiences, and your experiences may vary, those rides end with me usually having to report their account to Uber or Lyft because they tried to damage my vehicle. They tried to sneak um, drugs or sneak um, smoking or sneak alcohol in my vehicle. And if you live in a state where no matter what, they will give a DUI to the driver, that is very harmful and it is dangerous. So I I will make that call, and I've learned that some things I'm willing to deal with, some things I'm not. I set my ground rules very basic. I mean, I guess that makes me a little bit mean. I guess I don't know, but I think that every person has their standard for what they're willing to deal with, especially in your own vehicle. Um, well, the adversity. I mean, you're going to have to make a schedule, knowing when to work, because sometimes you don't want to work on a Saturday. Well, Saturday makes a lot of money, but I don't want to work on a Saturday. Well, no one wants to work on Saturday. None of my friends work on Saturday. So knowing when to make a schedule is going to be very important, and how to make up for when you do have an event on Saturdays. This is the time of the year where you have weddings, graduation parties, all the other different things. How do you make up that time? How do you make up those opportunities? And so, um, knowing how to schedule and knowing how to understand, okay, this is what I can do. That's going to be a big thing, because if you don't do that, then you're really going to be frustrated, and um, you're really going to miss out, and you're going to feel like you're constantly missing out, and then that's going to end your time with Uber and Lyft because no one wants to be missing out. Um, and I would say, just in summation, because this video is kind of going on, but I would say in summation, just be what's the word? Just be positive. I mean, adversity at any job. I always like to compare how I would react if I was at a normal job. If I woke up, didn't want to go to work, but didn't have any days, would I still go? Yeah, well, I would go. If my boss said something that really irked me, would I quit my job? Probably not. So if a customer says something that really irks you, why quit your job? Or if Uber or Lyft does something that changes the policy, same thing, like they change the policy. Are you going to quit just because your boss says, you know what, we're no, say you worked a job and you always worked overtime, then they come in one day and say, no more overtime. You quitting? Probably not. Um, just because that's just not something that you would normally go to. That's not your normal reaction. So I think sometimes with the gig economy, because you're not held to a boss, sometimes you feel as if, well, I'm quitting, I'm done, and it's not something where you will be successful because you will quit everything. Um, I always stress patience with these companies. All these companies are new, and all these companies are trying to find their footing. Now, granted, patience shouldn't cost you money. You still have to be savvy to navigate to navigate around, you know, um, how to make money, even though the companies are still trying to figure it out. But you have to be patient with them, and being positive is huge because if you are not, um, it's just going to frustrate you. Um, so that's my couple cents. I'm putting this video up. I want to try to get it up tonight. It is May 10th. I am putting this video up tonight. Tomorrow, May 11th, which is Friday, I am going to do a podcast with the one and only Uber dude. I'm going to link his. I'm going to put his a link to his page in the description. I'm going to try to do one of those add-ons possibly somewhere on the screen somewhere. But check out his channel. It's going to be a great conversation. We threw around some topics earlier this week, and it was just great conversation. He is a great YouTuber. I encourage you all, if you listen to my channel, please go to his channel right now, subscribe, enjoy, do the little bell so that you get his alerts because his content is unbelievable. He does Uber Eats in the Miami market, has some real perspective. He's been on the Uber councils where he's given direct feedback to Uber, so he definitely has some insights there. He has a financial background, so he definitely understands the finances of the industry. So definitely go onto to his channel, subscribe, and get the alerts and enjoy. Um, but until then, I will see you on the next one. And peace, and have a good one. Make money and do all the things that are positive.